I'm not gonna lie, I started noting for this video simply with the idea of, okay, it's Season 3 Reloaded, we have Ranked, Plunder, a new map for MP, and some new weapons. And I thought initially, might have to scrap this one because it's not too comprehensive, but then sitting down around the idea, it built itself out pretty nicely where there is a bit more than you may consider initially with the mid-season update for Season 3 in Modern Warfare 2. Today we're running down all you can expect, and while it may be a bit early to consider that, or so it may seem, it also might not be, because I'd start to expect previews of the upcoming content sometime next week, as that will likely mark the 1 week out point from the Season 3 Reloaded update, and the rest of this week we've got some cool projects that I want to share. So in the meantime, today we're taking a look at Season 3 Reloaded, what we know of so far and what you should be aware of that's still on the way. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below on what you're looking forward to, or if there's any particular hopes that you have for Season 3 Reloaded of Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, or DMZ. If you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ, alongside some other FPS content. And finally, as always, consider checking out my friends at G Fuel and using code ESPRESSO for 20% off your entire order and 30% off even in some cases, linked below. But more on that later. For now, let's examine the Season 3 Reloaded update on the near horizon. Let's talk about the big additions first, the stuff that is going to be like the premier content per se of Season 3 Reloaded. Firstly, Warzone actually has some of the biggest additions here, with two main features being introduced or reintroduced in some cases. I'm personally going to be happy to see Plunder return, still not quite sure why it wasn't there at the launch of Warzone 2, but that's a quick side note. But this will be something for those that are not necessarily familiar, respawn enabled squad against squad combat where the team with the most cash wins. You can farm kills, contracts for XP and things like that, as well as just simply going and collecting as much cash as possible. It's much more sandbox of a mode on Al Mazrah than Battle Royale, not quite as sandbox as DMZ, and again, kind of as another middle ground, you can use your loadouts right away. Full loadouts with primaries, secondaries, perks, equipment, and all, like you'd have to buy from BR, but not quite as limited as infilling with your weapons, but not perks and things like that in DMZ. Now, the part that I was personally, as a completionist and kind of collector of in-game items looking forward to, is the Plunder challenges and rewards apparently launching with the mode, though now it might be a bit more up in the air. That's something that'll also be coming here with Plunder alongside just the core gameplay. But previously it was detailed as there will be 9 rewards at launch, including a vehicle camo, calling cards, and more, each unlocked through completing a challenge. The devs confirmed these challenges include winning Plunder matches, eliminating AI combatants or enemy operators, or just simply playing the game. Now, I say previously mentioned because the blog post that this initially was mentioned in no longer has that exact paragraph that was in a blog but is no longer. So perhaps it gave away too much information and was since amended and partially wiped out. Perhaps some rewards are changing. We just don't quite know yet. But we will have some rewards as well as challenges with the launch and in season as well with Season 3 Reloaded and the Plunder update. But it also, additionally, before we move on, give some context that AI will also be in Plunder this time around as opposed to not being in Warzone 1. Ranked is also the next key pillar here of the Warzone experience that will be introduced within Season 3 Reloaded, and there's not a whole ton in regards to the information currently available, but it did say in the preview blog to assemble the trio and prepare for the road to top 250. Sounding a lot like it's going to be trios only, something that we have kind of seen in competitive nature before, but never explicitly laid out for Ranked. That does open a lot of questions though on if it will only be trios in regards to Ranked, if you could play solos, duos, or quads. Will the ranking be cumulative squad ranking, or will we have individual ranks? That's stuff that we just don't quite know yet. One thing that I am very curious on though when it comes to Ranked is how the SR will be handled. With Treyarch at the helm of this on Ranked, I imagine it'll be very similar to Modern Warfare 2 Ranked, if not identical in a lot of areas, but SR distribution is a bit more, how can we say, kind of unpredictable with Warzone, because in MP, it's a very black and white situation with SR distribution. You either win or you lose as a team. However, in Warzone, you're playing against upwards of 147 other players, so with each match comes one winner and 49 losing teams. So how do you manage to dictate those SR gains and losses? Do we determine variable placement SR gains like top 25 is kind of incremental, top 15 is more, top 10 is even more, top 5 is just about the max you can earn, and then winning would be that capped max SR yield? Or is it something like after reaching top 75 of players, top 25 in teams, you don't lose any SR, but instead you start to gain more and more as you progress? There's a lot of stuff to consider, and frankly, when we discuss how we think next week we'll be bringing information for the Reloaded Reloaded update, I think this will be one of the first, if not the first thing we see detailed, a sort of overall general overview of the ranked experience with Warzone. But that said, that's the Warzone stuff coming as of the mid-season update. Multiplayer, we have a bunch of things as well, with weapons initially described as additional armaments. To expect 2 new sidearms within Season 3 Reloaded, both fully automatic with drastically different roles, a highly customizable machine pistol with a fast rate of fire, and a high caliber pistol modified for full auto to blast enemies back when they get too close for comfort. Now, this was expanded upon a little bit, where this part is all but confirmed by the roadmap, and also a little bit of an oopsie by Call of Duty Japan. The roadmap had initially silhouetted a weapon coming as in-season, which looks identical to the Tech 9, this time confirmed as a pistol by the blog post, as opposed to the SMG variation we saw on Black Ops Cold War. But then, the other weapon, which we had no information on, was otherwise confirmed by the Call of Duty Japan account, tweeting, "New weapons for Season 3, the sniper rifle of the FGX Imperium, battle rifle of the Cronin Squall, sidearm of the Tango Zero, and the sidearm of the automatic 50GS. So the Tech 9 or Tango Zero, I get that one. We kind of saw that one previewed, but the automatic 50GS is a bit weird to me, unless I'm misunderstanding something. I mean, we already have the 50GS, but with that caliber and automatic, you'll be shooting straight up with that recoil after like 5 rounds. But those are your weapons you can expect to see at the mid-season update, the Tango Zero and automatic 50GS. Then we'll have a new map of the Albaran Hatchery. This one, while not necessarily confirmed outright just yet, it may look familiar if you've played the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, because it seems to be the location in the mission Recon by Fire, even mentioned specifically in that mission's intro cutscene as signals tracked to a hatchery used by the cartels as a smuggling front. It's remote and on the water. So set just off the coast of Spain if it does follow that same campaign mission. But the layout of the campaign mission isn't all that bad, offering some interior CQB engagements where SMGs and shotguns will reign supreme, while the exterior has plenty of rifle play options and even some sniper potential. Now, the campaign mission was really big because you start on the hillside above it and work your way down, but I'm curious to see just how much is actually played out in the multiplayer version of this. Beyond that, we also have some Spec Ops stuff, the big part being Raid Episode 3. There's some leaks, some hints here that speculate as to where this will be going, but just know that it will be Episode 3 following our continuation of the story we've seen so far from Episode 1 and 2, where it seems like we may actually get some hints towards maybe Makarov further, and also now hunting down Hadir, Farah's brother, who canonically is turning into Khaled al-Assad as compared to the original Modern Warfare trilogy. Kind of strange how they're all twisting that together, but that's kind of who it ends up becoming. Then we'll also end up seeing Defender on Hafid Port as a new co-op mission, a new opportunity for those that are still playing there. Beyond that, the other big thing here before I jump into some additional features is we'll see the new event refresh as well. Right now, we of course have that trophy hunt event going on where it's just kind of collecting tokens as you would in Kill Confirmed, just across every single game mode, multiplayer, Warzone, and DMZ, even ranked. But with a mid-season update, we see that there will be a mid-season camo challenge event, where it's stated as following the path of the Ronin camo challenge event, currently as the time of that blog post being written, active during the end of Season 2. Season 3 will feature an exclusive set of camos the players can earn as a part of the mid-season event. More details on the event will be revealed later this season. So if it does follow suit with how we saw this happen with the Path to Ronin event, it may very well be something where we see more headshot challenges and things alike for every single classification of weapon. And by denoting camos, plural, we'll see potentially even that follow more one-to-one, where you can complete different classification of weapon challenges and get a camo for that classification of weapon, and then an overall mastery camo as well. Now, one of those camos has actually leaked already, whether or not it is the mastery or one of those incremental rewards. It is something that looks to be a black and red topo pattern. My hope would be that it would be an animated camo, but we'll have to wait and see how that all works out. But moving over to some smaller stuff, but stuff we also know will be coming within Modern Warfare 2's Season 3 Reloaded update, we have more operators detailed as coming during Season 3, detailed as these bitter rivals are not only the operators coming to Season 3, but to be on the lookout for additional intel on multiple operators who will reinforce Kortak and Spec during this season and beyond. Now, that doesn't give us anything really, but we do know that we have seemingly a crossover event happening every single season from here on out. So that could be something that happens alongside this. It could be something pulled from the narrative of Modern Warfare 2 and the Modern Warfare universe already, but we do know that we'll have more operators coming. For Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, we'll see Face-Off coming as a game mode, this being 3v3 respawn on these new gunfight maps. It's not quite Cold War's Face-Off where it was 6v6, but it should be still good for quick grinding like Shipment, but kind of scaled down, though Shipment might not be the best example because Shipment is a gunfight map, so there's 66 play on that. But anyways, you'll have these gunfight maps to play more respawn modes on if you so choose to do so. We also will see that Gunfight has another edition of Gunfight OSP, this being on-site procurement, where it might be familiar if you've played Modern Warfare 2019, you might remember this, but you spawn in with your fist and then have to collect your weapons, secondaries, equipment, and anything you want to use in that round from there on, resetting every single round. We also will see Ground War Infected, Large Scale Infected. Again, we saw this, I think, as an LTM in Modern Warfare 2019. I could be mistaken on that, but it is returning in that sense in Season 3 Reloaded. For Warzone, we'll see some more gameplay adjustments here, like deployable buy stations, something that was incredibly great as an introduction here in Warzone 1, if you ask me, and especially with a lack of buy stations or accessibility in some areas of the map for some of those buy station spawns, they'll be incredibly helpful. Perk packages will be coming where you can end up looting these, but unlike Warzone 1, it will not be just your singular perks. It will instead be your perk packages. So those predetermined sets of 4 perks you can end up getting, you'll be able to loot those. Now, if you'll be able to combine multiple of those, that'd be pretty cool. Make it a little easier to get towards a specialist bonus of sorts, but that'll be coming with a mid-season update. We also see the decontamination stations comparable to the PDS and Caldera working the exact same way, coming as a new field upgrade in Season 3 Reloaded, and a Gulag entry kit being just another token to get back into the Gulag again if you ended up going into your Gulag and using your usual once per game use of that. You can get another one in addition if you loot that. Now, DMZ, the final thing that we know in regards to our Season 3 Reloaded preview, this will be the classified faction getting continuations of more tiers of missions. 2 more to be exact. This bringing it to a total of 5 like we've seen for every other faction in the game. And I kind of like how this is working. And feel free to intervene if you feel the logic is off base here. But with this being introduced with 3 tiers of faction missions and 2 later on down the line, it's a progressive rollout of more and more to do, because unless you're a dedicated DMZ grinder, 3 tiers up front is a decent number of things to work on. If you are a grinder, sure, it can be sort of a very small introduction here that you might finish in like a week's time or so. But if you're not, if you're a casual player, for most, I'd wager that you're still completing missions elsewhere. So having even more to do in another faction is cool, but it's not necessarily overbearing or daunting of a task by having 5 more tiers of missions dropped on you all at once. But that's just me, so maybe you guys may feel differently, and that's totally fine if you do. But that is your mid-season content that we can expect to see here coming with Season 3 Reloaded. Of course, we will see a bunch of other stuff like bug fixes, weapon tuning, likely some other things on a fundamental level, but in terms of content offered, this is what we know of so far and what you can look out for. So that said, that is where we're going to wrap it up and all that you need to know. So before we wrap everything up though, before we call the video, make sure you check out my friends over at G Fuel. Code Espresso giving you 20% off your entire order normally, but for certain things like the tubs of Starfruit and Hype Sauce, some specific items for the month of April, that can get you 30% off those items as well. So if you guys would like to check those out, learn more, link in the description below. Personally, Hype Sauce and Starfruit are in my top 3 flavors, I'd say right now. Had Hype Sauce this morning to get me through some meetings and to get me into the content space here for today's productivity. So I highly recommend those if you guys want to check that out, link in the description below. But that's it, that's what we're gonna call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to Season 3 Reloaded and the content coming on offer with the update? Maybe not so much, or is there anything in particular you're hoping for a little further? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related, as well as some other FPS content here upcoming. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.